Welcome to Staples.
Staples Guy, I've resolved to save my office money in 2017.
Well, during Staples' January printing event, you save big when you buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off.
Oh, that kind of savings will impress the boss. Maybe this year he'll stop calling me New Guy Nick.
Well, there are worse nicknames.
I've worked there 6 years, and my name's Doug.
Resolve to save during Staples' January printing event. Buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off. Staples, make more happen.
Ends 1/14/17. See store staples.com for details. Restrictions may apply.
I am Vampiro. Hey, what's up, players? This is Teddy Long. Hey, this is Nick Aldis, a.k.a. Magnus.
This is Michael Tarver, a.k.a. Monster Tarver.
This is Tito Santana. This is Donovan Dijak from Ring of Honor.
This is Eric Young.
This is Rick Bocchini. Hey, everybody, this is Anthony Corelli. You are listening to the one and only Main Event Madness.
And now, live from RockRockRadio.com, presented by WrestlingCastNews.net. It's Main Event Madness. .com/Main Event Madness. And now, here are your hosts for tonight's show, John Curry, Mark Madison, and Mike Collins.
I suppose that's what you could call us. Welcome, everybody, to Main Event Madness Radio, October 27th edition of the broadcast. We thank you so much for taking time out of your night to come hang out with us. And here we've got to say we really appreciate that, guys. And we appreciate Wrestling-News.net as always, I should say, for housing us and letting us air each and every week that I don't play hooky. With me this week is one of my co-hosts that you can hear with me each and every week. He's a writer for TJRWrestling.net. He is the incomparable, the impervious to whiskey sour, Mike Holland.
Greetings, John.
How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Well, it was a pretty good day. You know, Dad had his CAT scan, or got the results for his CAT scan and bone scan. And anytime you hear that cancer is getting smaller, it's a good day. So, shout out to my old man.
Absolutely.
Happy he's on the road to getting better. Look forward to being a pain in his ass and not feeling bad for it. So, I do got to talk about this. So, if you guys have listened to the show in the last few weeks, or the last month or so, you'll remember Mark got suspended for playing hooky. And then we go to last week. So one of us might have been sick. I'm not going to self-incriminate, but one of us may have been sick. I think that kind of narrows it down a little bit of who that was, but no self-incrimination will be occurring in this household. So, that begs the question. When I'm the one controlling the soundboard, can I be suspended?
Good, but it's like a philosophical quandary that you know if you had to.
This is true.
Would we be capable of informing you of that suspension?
It'd be mutiny.
It would be.
Speaking of mutiny, TNA.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I just want to get it right out of the way. First off, if you guys want to chat with us during the show, you guys use the hashtag MEM Live on Twitter, at John MEM Radio, at Darman Rockwell, at the Mark Madison, at WWE BNRL Brendan Lasher, our other co-host, and Facebook.com/Main Event Madness. So, TNA.
Oh, my.
I'm trying to think of where I want to start.
Happy Halloween.
Even Halloween's not that fucked up. There's some people in TNA, like Billy Corgan's probably sitting there thinking, is this April Fool's? Like every day? Is this going to end at some point? And unfortunately for him, it's not. And the biggest thing was that came out today was, and that's not until January. So that kind of tells you where things are with Impact right now. I think they aren't going ahead with their next batch of tapings that were just announced last week due to financial reasons. And the fact that they're canceling them 2.5 months in advance, almost 2 months in advance, I feel like that kind of is a harbinger of things to come. What are your thoughts?
Oh, there's a lengthy, I guess a series of informational shots from Dave Meltzer, the Observer, which I read today, that really feeds into the meat and potatoes of what's going on with TNA and Corgan's lawsuits and, legal wranglings and, there's a level to it that I care about. There's a level that I think is just sad, and we've discussed it before. I know you and I, John, have pretty similar feelings. I have to say that in reading it, interestingly, this is all going to make for like a really good. They used to do that behind the music. This will make for like a really good when WWE buys the tape library, which inevitably they will do eventually for pennies on the dollar, I'm sure. They are going to release on the WWE network
the fallen greater fall.
What'd you say?
The fallen greater fall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the rise and fall of WCW is a perfect example of a lot of what WWE is about, which is they have great video packages, they do a nice job, and they relish in informing you about how they kick someone's ass. They did it with the Ultimate Warrior. They did it with Bret Hart. They've done it with everybody.
But you got a really good-looking video package out of it.
Absolutely. They get like Hollywood voiceovers.
Yeah.
They get ready to come and say their piece. Like they do a great job. So when they release the TNA one, I think your call is correct. It's going to be like the careening destruction of TNA because nobody comes out smelling like a rose in the information that continues to flow.
Sure they do.
It looks like a maniac. Carter, of course, looks like an idiot, which, he is. Just everybody looks bad. And at the end of the day, you're right. The money is not there. There's a lot of contracted talent that if you believe what you read is not being paid in a timely fashion, if at all. And it's just, it's unfortunate. As I said many times here on Main Event Madness, it's sad when you're a wrestling fan and you see a promotion that just isn't getting anything right almost seemingly ever. So, not to overstate it, but yeah, it's really bad. And it just seems like it's going to get a hell of a lot worse before whatever catharsis comes out of the ground zero that will be TNA before all is said and done.
And Billy Corgan looked like the savior, but then you're seeing all these details, and I got a couple tidbits from the TNA hearing that I'm going to get to in a second. But you just look at this, and it's like, how badly must Billy Corgan have really wanted to get into a wrestling promotion when he's going to tie his money up, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of his own money, if not more than that, into this? I mean, the fucking Titanic didn't even get that much support. So TNA attorney Travis Parham called the lawsuit a scheme by Corgan to force out Dixie Carter to take over the company. He said the lawsuit, and this is from Wrestling Inc., so the lawsuit has credited a creditor crisis and hurt their financial standing. He called TNA a quote-unquote valuable, well-known commodity. And it was noted that Dixie Carter owns 92.5%, Anthem owns 2%, and Airlux owns 5%. Not quite sure where the other 0.5% is. I'm assuming that it must be Corgan. Somebody, who the hell is that? Oh, they're hearing Nate Rowell, the Tennessean, which I'm assuming is the Nashville paper. TNA is goodwill, notoriety, merchandising, license, and is an international brand. Parham said that TNA anticipated short-term cash flow problems. He argued that TNA knew its business model would be a challenge. He argued that Corgan gave a loan that could be transferred to equity. He said that Corgan lent more money in July and had the right to convert the loan to 12.5% interest. He argued that TNA is not insolvent and provided a third loan. Corgan provided a third loan in August, and Parham argued that the loans were opportunistic to benefit himself. And he says, Nate Rowell says, I apologize if I'm not saying his name right. Corgan wanted a 22.5% stake in the company after the third loan and insisted on a pledge agreement. And that Corgan wanted all principal, 6% interest, and 50% equity kicker as condition of a 3-month loan in August. Wow, there's a lot of this. Corgan doesn't want to be refinanced and paid off because he wants Dixie Carter's 92.5%. And he said that Corgan hasn't been incredibly well compensated. So, you kind of look at these tidbits. And as much of a dunce and much shit as we've given Dixie Carter in the last number of weeks, it kind of looks like, some of these cash problems could be because of Corgan. Because Corgan wants to make a payday out of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, a couple points, because like I said, there's just a ton on this, and of course, it's only what we know, because much of this, because it's pending litigation, we're not going to be fully aware. But one thing is that, to your point, it's interesting to note, like they presented it on television as if Corgan had bought into the company. And I think most people, myself included, assumed that, that was accurate, maybe not to the degree that they were saying. And it seems as a result of what you're talking about, what I've read, that it's not the case, that he basically just, shoveled money onto the bonfire. And, every time TNA needed a little more money, they came around to the Bank of Philly and he let them have another check. And then he realized at some point that, he's not going to be getting this money back, and Dixie has no plans on leaving. And in fact, in the Observer, the quote, which is great, and I love it, is at one point, according to, and forgive me because I don't have it right in front of me, but somebody, I guess, reported that Dixie said something to Billy Corgan like, oh, what about teaming up with me or working with me? And he said, you're damaged goods. I have no interest in working with you. So basically, it's become a power struggle, to your point. And, whether he did it for his own benefit or not, let's face it, I mean, he's obviously plunked a lot of money into this. And, that could be opportunistic, sure, but I think that we all want to believe that he has an intention of trying to right some of the wrongs that have been inflicted on TNA. So I agree with you, Johnny. Like I said, I don't think anybody comes out smelling really good in this, but clearly there's enough there that at least until Halloween, ironically enough, there's a judge saying, hey, let's, hold things up and see if this is legitimate. And, it just raises a lot of questions. It obviously, there's a lot going on here behind the scenes. It's really a mess. But I would definitely agree that I think, the Corgan as a savior thing, it looks like, what they were doing on TV truly was an angle. And maybe the angle was on him. Maybe he thought that he was getting something that they weren't willing to give up. And unfortunately, as much as I know very little about the situation other than what I read, whenever it comes to this stuff, I automatically side with whoever is opposing Dixie Carter because she's well publicized as telling people one thing and doing another. She's done it to her whole locker room, and you don't have to take my word for it. I mean, obviously, as we both know, Mark has spoken to people who have, been on record, even not with us, perhaps, but saying, hey, look, it was a mess, and there were a lot of times where I would still be there if people had done the right thing. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I'm not in that locker room, obviously. I don't want to judge, but I think we can agree that there's, where there's smoke, there's fire. And like I said, ultimately, unfortunately, as this continues to play out, wrestling fans like you and I just have to endure the fact that this promotion is fading into obscurity relatively quickly. And it seems like with each story that comes out, the chance that they're going to walk away from this in any form is shrinking.
And, you hit the nail on the head. You want to take the side against Dixie. But then you see all these tidbits come out, and it's like, how much of this is kind of like legal propaganda, and how much of this is actually like Corgan kind of being a dick. The company's not in a good standing as it is, and somebody basically playing blackmail.
Sure.
Just to get a better.
But the argument, John, is listen, they took his money, so he definitely.
See,
again,
they didn't take his money. Nobody put a gun to Billy Corgan's head. I don't want to defend Dixie, but nobody put a gun to Billy Corgan's head and say, hey, we need you, specifically you out of 314 million people in the country, to bail out TNA.
Well, that's true, but they did use the money.
Fair enough.
There's multiple occasions where had he not funded it, they may have lost their television deal because, as has been rightly pointed out, they're in violation if they do not air their programming when they are contracted to do so. So they could have gotten it from somewhere else if they didn't want to take it from Corgan, but they would have had to get it, or in theory, they would have been in violation. And the television, if you don't have TV, it's all over. So, I want to say at least 3 times, but it's definitely twice. It's clear from the documentation that his funding. Now, there is the thought where I read that he, I guess, had intimated that he could secure additional, funding himself, and that doesn't seem like it's come to fruition. So to your point, I'm not all on board for Dean Corgan either, but, if TNA was capable of getting that money from somewhere else, you would think logically that they would have done it versus falling into the loan shark arrangement that they're now crying about. I get it, but I do think if you believe, again, what's presented, had he not acted when he did, they may already be done so because they wouldn't have been able to air, their programming.
True. Now, let's move on to something much more positive.
Let's do that. I'm ready for positivity.
That was I'll call that conversation a 3 whiskey.
At least.
So I don't know how true this is, but evidently Turner Broadcasting is getting back into pro wrestling.
Interesting.
With Lucha Underground. Waiting for the okay. This is why when you see articles on Facebook and people like hundreds of comments, you should probably read the article before you bring it up on a podcast. Evidently, it's only in Germany. But that could be the start of something.
Sure.
Because if they get good enough ratings in Germany, who's to say that Turner's not going to want to do it in America?
Absolutely. And listen, I'm in an area where I don't get it. El Rey is not available for me, so I can't see it even if I wanted to. Now I have seen some of it, and it's pretty great in how different it is from everything else. So that brings some interesting possibilities. But my understanding, it's kind of one of those things where, sort of like when Spike got bigger, I guess, as it went on, but it's like one of these networks where people are like, do I get that? I don't even know if I get that. So Turner would help big time if that ever came to fruition.
I'm all for it, to get more variety in pro wrestling.
Absolutely.
Which I finally dabbled, and I got to start watching this on demand. Finally dabbled in a little bit of New Japan.
Oh, it's about time.
Oh my God, I don't know what the hell I was waiting for. I was flicking through the other night, and I see New Japan. I'm like, all right, well, who's this? I'm like, oh, it's Kazuchika Okada. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I know who Okada is. All right. And then there's Hiroshi Tanahashi from their match for the IWGP Heavyweight title from Wrestle Kingdom 10. I probably got into the match maybe like halfway through, maybe a little bit sooner than that. And I wanted to talk about this because you look at WWE really from the time that Jim Ross left. I'll even go a little bit further back, not terribly further, from the time Taz quit WWE. Commentary in WWE has been an abomination. And TNA is no exception. You know, they had Taz, but Mike Tenay.
Well, that's because, to your point, John, TNA just hires whoever WWE fires before.
You know, and that was a good hire, though, because Taz is a very, very good commentator. Although at the time I didn't like it because I liked what's his name, Don West? Yes.
Yeah, Don West.
He was awesome, and he had the different.
Ken Griffin Jr. rookie card.
Yes, he was a QVC salesman, but you know what though? He had a different voice.
He did, and listen, you're pitching all the time, so is that actually?
And they had stupid merch sales back then.
They did, and it's one of the few like resume builders where you could go somewhere and go, "Hey, I sold baseball cards at 2 a.m. on QVC." And you're like, "Great, you're hired."
But he was the worst thing they did with Don West was turn him heel.
Oh my God! Yeah, well, again, like you listen, you promised we were going to be positive now, and now you're going back into TNA plotline. Please, just hate.
But having said that,
yeah, continue, sir.
How bad the commentary has been in WWE. It's getting better. Cole's getting better when he's not being a character. But Jim Ross and Josh Barnett. Is that his name, Josh Barnett?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
To be able to take somebody like me who knows next to nothing about New Japan. I know who a few guys are, but I don't know anything about the storyline. I don't know anything about the guys. And when I could watch it for not even 5 minutes and I'm able to gasp, okay, these guys have been rivals for a long time. Okada hasn't been able to get the job done. Okay. Oh, Tanahashi's had an 8-year winning streak. Wow, that's pretty substantial odds in his favor. You know, and at the root of it all, it's for the IWGP Heavyweight title. There were a couple branching off stories that only enhanced what the match was about, and it was about the title.
Imagine that.
And the commentators got that point across in not even 5 minutes of a 25, 30-minute match, maybe longer.
Yeah. I would say several things to that, John, because I'm actually glad you brought it up. I didn't know you were going to go there, but I'm glad you did, because New Japan is, in my mind anyway, they're the number 2 at this point.
A lot of people's minds.
Yeah, I think they're number 2, and they're definitely gaining exposure and they're gaining momentum. And I think a lot of the reason is what you're talking about, because we've said many times it needs to be an alternative to what you see. And you know, we could talk about this for much longer than we would probably even want to. But the way that WWE handles Jim Ross and multiple times during the guy's career is, to me, one of the worst things that they have ever done. And I think that Jim Ross is a smart businessman. He's made a lot of money outside of WWE. He doesn't really burn bridges, which I think is to his credit. But, it's funny how you said that, because the same thought occurred to me when I was watching, an old pay-per-view on the network. And every time I get Jim Ross on commentary, I am struck by how different the storytelling, if you want to call it that, how different the cadence and the delivery is versus what you get now, and how silly it is that the person who makes the decision about what we as fans want to hear thinks that Jim Ross's mode of announcing is outdated. Because you hit the nail on the head, John. Like, you don't have to know everything about a storyline to get the point across. And Jim Ross is a master of that. So I agree with you on that point 100%. I think the fact that Jim Ross is not working for the WWE right now is one of the reasons that they are just missing it. As much as I love Ronaldo and he does a great job, and as much as I think Corey Graves has definitely added some punch to Raw. It's too scripted, it's too media hyped, and it's not emotional the way you want commentary to be. And I would furthermore say, if we're talking about New Japan, that another nice thing is it gives you an opportunity to see the way that the fans react to the product, because I think that that's also much different. You could compare Full Sail and NXT to it, and I think to some degree rightly so. But the fans of that promotion, the best way I can say it, if you've never seen it, and I would encourage you to watch it, is they have an impact on how the match is in both a very positive and a very negative way. And I think for the most part, they're very positive. There's definitely times where guys come out and bust their butt and don't get credit for it. But I think far more times than that, the fans can actually make the match better with the way that they react to the guys inside the ring. And that's pretty powerful, and definitely one of the things that I love about wrestling compared to other live athletic events or sports or whatever you want to say, is you really feel like you are impacting the product when everything is in synergy. So I could not agree with you more. I think it's a fantastic product. I think it's far different from what you're used to seeing, as the North American audience. But you are hitting the nail on the head with the Jim Ross thing, because the commentary is a huge part of it, and I completely agree that I'm largely disappointed by WWE's version.
All right. I'm going off topic from that because I was on Facebook and I see this post come up, and now I'm very, very annoyed with WWE. So, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to hit a commercial break in a minute. And we're going to talk about who won the week between Raw and SmackDown. But Becky Lynch returned after a couple-week absence. She had a health issue. And when she returned, she really didn't say much. At least from reading the report, I didn't get to watch SmackDown this week. Perks of an overnight. And would you like to know why she's not talking and may not talk in the future?
Tell us, John.
Because of the fucking dimwit asshole producer that is up Vince McMahon's ass, known as Kevin Dunn. According to Brian Alvarez of the figure for the Wrestling Observer, Kevin Dunn, WWE's executive vice president of television production, hates the accent. According to Alvarez, Dunn doesn't want to hear it anymore, so she isn't going to get a lot of promo time going forward. Fuck you. Fuck you, Dunn. Fuck. Oh my God. The only. Huh?
Do you love that she, they merchandise her as the last kicker, and he just figured out that she has an Irish accent. Oh my God.
Not only that, she's the only fucking woman on the roster who has acting training and can actually cut good promos from an acting point of view.
Yeah. Well, that is so, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but it falls so into the wheelhouse of what we expect from WWE that it wouldn't surprise anybody. It's just and by the way, of course, what I picture is this is basically the opposite of Lana, who is, Boris and Natashing her way through her hokey Bulgarian or whatever the hell provincial accent that's supposed to be when she's not attending Florida State Seminole games. So, like, it's typical WWE. We don't want an authentic Irish wrestler. We want a fake Florida sun-baked one with a Russian accent that can be in a movie with Edge. Got it.
Huh? Our old host Al Merriman's listening in, and what do I get? A message from him. Listen, 1 minute in, you've cursed 4 times. Damn. Listen, I try my hardest not to curse, but fuck you, Kevin Dunn. Like, God.
The minute that you brought up TNA, we knew that you were going to be working blue tonight, John.
It's just, oh God. I could go on and on and on. Why does Sheamus? Why does Lana? Why does Rusev? Why does Cesaro? Why does Asuka? I get Kevin Dunn doesn't control NXT, but why does Asuka get promo time? Granted, Asuka's very good. Not slighting her in the slightest, or any of the ones that I mentioned, but really, fuck you. That's all I can say to this. So we are going to hit a commercial break here. I'm going to regroup. I'm going to try to reserve the rest of my F-bombs. Probably. And then I realize we still have Raw and SmackDown to talk, so there's probably going to be a lot more of these. So this is Main Event Madness Radio. We are live October 27th edition, and we are streaming live on wrestling-news.net and blogtalkradio.com. When we come back, we're going to talk who won the week between Raw and SmackDown. Spoiler alert, it was people like me who didn't have to watch either one of them. Unless you want to watch SmackDown Ellsworth or Monday Night Snores. And both of those were up, just right off the top of my head. I'm proud of myself for that. Now, both of those were more entertaining than Raw's been in the last month. So, yeah, like I said, we are going to hit a commercial break. Raw and SmackDown, who won the week between them, we're going to get to that. In about a half an hour from now, we're going to talk Hell in a Cell predictions this Sunday, which I forgot there was a pay-per-view, and I took off the wrong day of work. Whoopsie! I had Sunday. I tried to take Sunday off, and my boss comes out to me, and thank you, Al. Thank you. I'm glad you wanted to give me the "I told you so." I told you about the brand split. Yes, but it doesn't help. We'll talk about this after the commercial break. I try to take Sunday off, and my boss comes over to me today. She's like, you asked for Sunday off. You wanted Sunday off, but you took Saturday. I'm like, no, I didn't. So she holds up the request off sheet, and it's 10:29 after. Fuck. Which that didn't go very well because I'm working until 9 o'clock on Saturday. But nonetheless, who won the week between Raw and SmackDown, Hell in a Cell predictions, and a roundup of news, including I do want to talk. We don't talk about this kind of stuff very often, but I do want to talk about this. Have you paid attention to any of the WrestleMania travel packages?
I saw them briefly today, but I did not look at them in detail.
Dear Lord. Yeah. Oh, what's this? Yeah, we'll talk about this after the break. So, guys, a lot to get to here. Main Event Madness Radio. Don't go anywhere because we're going to be very back right after these words.
All right, so you want to know what's going on with the show, and you want to know who our next guest is going to be. Well, the easiest place to do that is Facebook. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness is the official Facebook page for Main Event Madness Radio. Come check us out and give us a like and help spread the word and make this a movement. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness. Looking for wrestling news, missed a live event, and want the best results? Well, look no further. Wrestling-news.net is the place to go for all of the pro wrestling news and results your heart desires. With coverage of the WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, Ring of Honor, Global Force Wrestling, Independence, and more. Also, is your favorite promotion overseas? No problem either. Wayne Daly has results and news for promotions all over the world. Check them out today, wrestling-news.net. Visit pwpnation.com for exclusive wrestling articles you won't find anywhere else. Since 2012, Pro Wrestling Powerhouse has produced original content from a dedicated team of wrestling analysts and fans from across the globe. pwpnation.com has now expanded into the world of wrestling news, podcasts, videos, and so much more. Make sure to visit pwpnation.com today. From the associate producer of The Wrestler, and in the tradition of Joe Franklin and Ed Sullivan variety talk show, Evan Ginzburg's Legends TV features an eclectic mix of legendary million-selling musicians, indie artists deserving greater exposure, and colorful pro wrestling. Co-hosted by Steve Ludwig of Classic Pop Culture Radio, the show airs live every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern at MadhouseTV.com and LegendsTVNYC.com. Martha Wash, Crown Heights Affair, Lanny Poffo, Nicole Bass, and other legends have joined us. You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginzburg, Legends TV. Coming soon, a website with news, a website with columns, a website with madness. MainEventMadness.com is returning soon with a new look, a new attitude, and we're raising the game to a whole new level. Don't miss new columns, our entire Main Event Madness archive featuring legendary guests, wrestling news, a chat you can use with us during the show, a store, and more. Don't miss the new MainEventMadness.com coming soon. From the ashes of our old website comes a fresh new face from Main Event Madness. MEM Network is here. Check out all of your favorite episodes of Main Event Madness, Work in Progress, Wrestling's World Break, and Evan Ginzburg's Legends TV. More shows to be announced in the future, but check out MEMnetwork.wix.com/home, where the madness runs wild.
Greg DeMarco presents Pro Wrestling Biz, the internet's premier host of analysis, opinion, and wrestling columns. Whether it's covering World Wrestling Entertainment, Lucha Underground, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, or any other independent wrestling promotion, Pro Wrestling Biz has you covered. With daily news, show reviews, covering pay-per-views or iPay-per-views, Pro Wrestling Biz will offer viewers an array of opinions from some of the most knowledgeable wrestling writers on the internet.
I did a post recorder about this a few days ago. Sometimes you can come up with the greatest costume in the world, but it's not anything that you want to wear all night. Like there's no place to pee, or it's so big you're going to be bumping into people, or the kind of thing that people are going to be whacking you in the back. You need something that looks cool, but is cool and easy to wear. It's a very fine line for figuring out if you're going out clubbing for Halloween. Again, I would trade quality and costume for.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Main Event Madness Radio. Tried to get music playing, of course. That didn't want to work for me. So thank you, Al. Thank you very much for jinxing the audio. Really appreciate that, buddy. Let's. Okay, that didn't want to work. Live radio. We meant to do this, folks. Mark, are you with me? Mike. Okay. Signs you've been awake for most of the last 24, 36 hours. Since we came back on the air, everything I've said. So I'm working on finding them. And I think this is it. Thank you. Thank you for telling me you can hear me clicking and breathing. I really appreciate that. Let's see. See if this wants to work. Oh, YouTube looks really Google-ish. There we go. Oh, it wanted to work for a second. I could never figure this computer stuff out. This is all Al's fault. Al Merriman, everybody, at Al Me Madness. I just don't understand how that works and then doesn't work. Oh, well.
As soon as you want it to work, it doesn't work. It comes straight to
You know, I'm telling you. So, WrestleMania 33, the travel packages. I'm waiting on my lovely internet. Good old Verizon Files. Shout out to some of the shittiest internet not named Xfinity. That shit takes the cake. And with that, we will never get a sponsorship.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Because, you know, shocker, let's put our surprise faces on. John was an asshole. So the Sunshine package, the premier package of the WrestleMania 33 packages, for one person, Mike, out of nowhere, you decide, you know what? Fuck it, I want to go to WrestleMania this year. Not a bad idea. For one person, for 5 nights, they've edited it now to where it's NXT on Friday, Hall of Fame Saturday, Mania Sunday, Raw Monday, and now SmackDown Live on Tuesday. They're going to include in the packages. And for the 5-night hotel accommodation, which I guess because they do put you in really, really nice hotels. Joel O'Brien, PWP Nation, had a package last year at WrestleMania 31, and they were actually really nice hotels. So I could get, you know, a little chunk of this. I could see that being towards that. But so before I tell you how much this is, you get 5-night hotel accommodations. The Performance Center experience with the superstars. You get to an exclusive visit. You'll meet NXT superstar and watch live matches with lunch and round-trip transportation provided. And exclusive receptions with WWE superstars, Universal Orlando Resort ticket, or if you're Al Merriman, you already have like the next 54 years already purchased. I'm not even joking about that. That's the sad part. Round-trip coach transportation from your hotel to Mania 33. Access tickets. Wow, they downgraded it this year. Oh, no, it is too. Okay. SmackDown Live ringside, Raw ringside, NXT ringside, floor seat for the Hall of Fame, and ringside for the first 4 rows at WrestleMania 33. Would you like to know how much all this... How much would you spend on that, first of all? Like, if you had to throw...
I'm getting like a price right spot where I bid $1 and don't get everything else overbid. I have no idea. I mean, it sounds incredibly expensive. It sounds like it's going to be several $1,000s.
Correct. For one person, if you decided Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern on WrestleManiaTravel.com, yeah, there's my good deed of the day, plugging that shit. One person for the Sunshine package, $7,375.
That's a lot of clams.
Al, you're listening to the show. Call in 305-600-4708. That's 305-600-4708. Or if anybody else wants to call into the show, now's your chance to do that as well. 305-600-4708. I called you out, Al Merriman. What you gonna do about it? I'm having way too much fun with this today. Is that a good thing?
You are. You're imposing yourself. So John, what you're saying is either buy a ticket to the wonderful things that you just said, where I could get like a turn down service at the hotel, you get to like, I'm sure somebody like Mojo Rawley for like 10 minutes.
He's main roster now.
Well, all right. So you could either do that with the 7,500, or you could fly part of TNA. You know, so it's what do you want to do with your 7,500?
Or that's a good chunk for a down payment on a house. You could buy a car. You could go on a very nice vacation. You could renovate your house. You could put in an in-ground swimming pool.
Well, that's what later.
You could buy a really boss TV.
You could.
$7,000 fucking dollars.
That's a lot of cash. A lot of. I will not be. Again, spoiler alert. I will not be buying that thing. I'm sorry to say. If anybody is waiting to find out if I'll be doing that, the answer is
I could speak for Al. Praise God I'm not in Florida anymore, because this wouldn't be happening. Not even close. Oh, God.
I for comedy purposes, just have like in a hotel. You have to like share a room with Brooklyn Brawler. Like they could really. That would be much better. You could do commentary with like Mike Adamley. You know, like I actually would pay $7,000 for like those kinds of events. You can call WrestleMania with Mike Adamley, right? I mean, that's things that they should consider. Free ideas for you to from the main event.
Absolutely. And because he missed it, call into the show, bitch. 305-600-4708, because he missed it. He didn't hear me call him out before. You haven't been on the show in 6 months, 8 months? Call into the show, bitch. Yeah, I would not spend $7,300 on a WrestleMania trip. I'd be more likely to be like Alan, purchase 619 years worth of Universal tickets for $7,000.
Yeah,
I think he has 8 generations of family already paid for Universal.
Well, actually, John, I think you bought the WWE Network. You could probably buy it for your natural life, for that amount of money.
I'm gonna actually look at this really quick because now I'm curious. All right. $7,375. That's 305-600-4708, Al. 305-600-4708. You're on the clock, sir. Divided by 999. I wish I had my old sound effects.
Good job, Triple H.
738 months divided by 12. That's 61 years. Yeah, safe bet. 24, almost 25. Safe bet. 86. Yeah.
Even with the advances in medical technology that will allow us all to use robotic apparatus, you still will be able to watch the WWE Network for the rest of your life, or you could participate in the fucking Sunshine package.
Let's be honest.
I don't even like the name of it. The Sunshine package. It sounds horrible.
Hey, did you know you could buy the Sunshine package for WrestleMania because they're in Florida? Get it? It's the Sunshine State.
Right. Or wait a minute, John. I heard inside. You can also get the Flo Rida package, where you go to that concert that they canceled because nobody gives a crap.
That was great. I hate the fact that it was for a charity. That part sucks. But the fact that nobody wanted to go to it.
Don't let charity get in the way of the material, John. Okay, that was in the contract. Do not let charity get in the way of my material.
All right, I'm gonna make you feel better.
Go ahead. Thank you. That does make me feel better.
Makes everybody feel better.
It does. You can just press that all day long. You never have a bad day.
This is true. So these tickets go for one person. That was for one person. If you bought, where is it? Wow, that really went down quite a bit. If you bought for 4 people, it's a very, very, very good bargain of $6,375.
Okay, so if the whole actual Spirit Squad, it would only cost them
$6,300 at $75. Now, that's the premier package. Now, if you go all the way down to the silver package, which is like the dollar store package.
Best Western package.
That's probably what they're putting you in.
Yeah.
For one person is $2,375. If you only get if you only get a 3-night hotel stay, it's $950.
Okay.
for the 5-night, this one I don't think is bad. Like, you're getting the universal ticket, you're getting round-trip coach transportation from the hotel to WrestleMania, access tickets, which I would sell anyway, because if you've gone once, you've gone enough. 200 level ticket for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, the Hall of Fame, and a Plaza level, which I'm assuming is probably thereabouts for WrestleMania. 4 people, $13.75 for 5 days. That's not bad. I agree. I would spend that.
I think that it's certainly more reasonable than the other one. I mean, I think that, you know, it's interesting because I don't know what your take on it is, but I will tell you that, you know, in most wrestling events, and, you know, people can feel free to disagree. It's just my take.
Right.
Obviously, there's a difference between sitting very close and sitting very far away. Okay, clearly. But in most wrestling shows, there isn't really a bad seat unless you're somebody that doesn't really get out of your seat, because everybody's going to stand up 1,000 times. And so, like, basically, I mean, granted, I am 6'2", so maybe I have an advantage.
Fuck you.
Okay, I said, probably because the person behind me is like, could you stop standing up during Becky Lynch's promo? But I am, particularly if the angle is right. But in any case, all I'm saying is, there's not really, that old expression, there's not a bad seat in the house. There are certainly some bad seats in the house, but for the most part, it doesn't hugely matter. I mean, obviously, if you're not going to be in the front row, being in the 4th row versus being in the 12th row, not a hell of a lot of difference.
Unless there's some kind of slope to the seats. If the floor arrangement for the seats, unless there's some kind of slope to the seats where it kind of goes up at an angle, good burp, Al, then that's worth it. Because I've sat 4th row. It's not really worth it. Unless you're 6'2", 6'3".
Well, right. Because again, you are at the mercy of everybody else, and therefore, like, you're kind of going, well, I spent more money than if I'd been a pirate. So you're right. I mean, I'm just saying, I think that part of it, people kind of overstate a little bit how close the seats are. I mean, obviously, you want to be as close as you can. I get that. I just, in my opinion, having been to a decent amount of shows, of course you like being close, especially if you're going to take pictures and things like that, you know, impress people because you can, you know, see the back of Michael Cole's bald spot or whatever you're photographing. But other than that, you know, it's kind of the same. So I agree. I think that package is reasonable, but I'd like to see some more. I'd really like WWE to turn this into more of an angle and have, like, cool little special things that are included. You know, for an extra $300, Chris Jericho will put you on the list.
Now, for the first time in months, we are going to be joined right now by the former host of the show, because I wanted to get his thoughts on this and Raw and SmackDown, Mr. Alfonso Merriman. Hello.
How's it going?
So, let me ask you. I'm doing good. How are you? And Mike, this is Al. Al, this is Mike Holland of TGRWrestling.net, one of our co-hosts that's with us every week. I don't know if you two have met.
No, we have not. Still now.
I've been in the graveyard for a couple of years now. That's what it feels like.
So, do you,
Yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
would you spend $7,400 on a WrestleMania package?
No. Like, it's fascinating to me. Unless I'm sleeping with Stephanie McMahon, there's no way it's worth it. You gotta give me at least an option between, I don't know, Eva Marie, Nikki Bella, and Stephanie McMahon, and then I would probably spend maybe $7,000 if I had the money. Maybe if I get all 3 of them for 1 hour, we'll probably spend $7,000. It's crazy, freaking insane.
Well, the only problem with that setup is you'll get that, and then Ava Marie will not be able to appear due to, she won't be able to make.
Yeah, due to her crazy, insane boyfriend or husband, according to Solo Diva. The bald guy, he's fucking crazy. He won't be able, I think that's why he's not wrestling at this time.
It's just, okay, so I love that we've spent a half an hour talking about travel packages.
Indeed.
I'll be honest.
Say that again? Say that one more. Al, we couldn't hear you. There we go. Don't worry, he's been gone for 15 months and we still have the same fucking problems we had last year. Yes, we can hear you.
I think that I know I missed the conversation, but that if you were to get the floor seating, they would sign seating. Is that correct? You wouldn't know where.
Yeah, it's when you buy the package, you get like the actual ticket, so it'd be like row 1, seat 17, something like that.
Row 15, 1, right? You wouldn't know.
Yeah, you know where you're sitting.
I don't know. I just don't see that it's worth it. Oh, crazy.
It's funny how I gave you shit for that mindset about 6 months ago when I said that we're going to WrestleMania. I don't know if it's worth it, and then fast forward 6 months, fuck that shit. That ain't happening.
John, you went to WrestleMania. It increased a lot the price, right?
I don't know. Actually, you know what? Give me just a second. I want to. I'm going to look up the travel packages for WrestleMania 31. I didn't get a package for 31. No, we pieced together that trip. We bought the WrestleMania tickets, the Access tickets, NXT ticket. NXT was last minute. Raw ticket. Almost went to SmackDown. All right, so let's do this. I just found WrestleMania 31. Let's see if this is the actual post. So the most expensive for WrestleMania 31 was $5,500. It was the California Dreaming package. Yeah, the names have gotten worse as the years have gone on.
And that's via WWE, right? Like,
Yes. Yes. What's hilarious is huh?
They continue to raise the fans. I don't understand how they increase it by so much. It doesn't make sense.
And they have a sellout every year. That's crazy. Of the packages alone, like these are on sale 10 o'clock, 10:01. These are going to be all sold out.
Oh yeah, sure.
Which if my last name was Trump, I'd be all for it, Or if my last name was like Cena or Rockefeller or Rothschild, where I have bountiful money, yeah, I'll do it. So, really quickly here before we hit commercial break, do you guys see that Vince McMahon is open to selling WWE?
I did.
Mike, did you see that?
I saw it, but it was kind of, is this based on the investor call? Because they talked about the investor call. And it was kind of, it was a little like, the way they made it seem was like he was out trying to sell it. And that's not exactly what he said.
No, what he said was, which is good timing on your part, WWE is quote-unquote open for business, but they're focused on doing their own thing and creating their own content. But if they received an offer that was more or less too good to be true, or not too good to be true, but it was like just blowing away kind of offer, Vince said that, or an offer that would allow them to still control their own destiny, but not be, I'm assuming, financially attached to it. Vince said, we're open for business. Which I guess as a business person, you have to be. If somebody comes along and says, hey, I'm going to offer you $10 billion, obviously some astronomical, stupid amount of money for WWE. I mean, McMahon will be like, here you go, take it. I mean, nobody would do that.
Yeah, it shows that he's built an empire and he's willing to sell the empire if the price is right. Sounds like every American on this freaking planet. So
I love how Stephanie sells like millions of shares and she still has a pretty decent stake in the company.
But they have all done that. Even Vince McMahon.
Oh yeah.
Recently sold a bunch again.
Wasn't it like $30 million or something like that?
Yeah. So it just goes to show you that he is open to somebody coming in and buying it. There's got to be the right buyer.
That it does. So.
By the way, who wants to buy the WWE if Vince still has creative control? I mean, that would be like, I'm gonna buy, I don't know, like
Billy Corgan.
Yeah, I'm gonna put like. I mean, if Vince still has control of it and you bought it, then basically you're the stupidest person in the history of the world. Like, obviously, the only reason any of us would buy it, I would save up all my dollars instead of doing the California Dreaming package. I would save up every cent I had, and I would buy it, and I'd fire Vince McMahon on national television. That would be cool.
Triple H tried that. It didn't go well.
At the same time, Vince McMahon created an industry that wasn't there before. If you think about it. So that's how constantly is that you could buy my company, but I'm still going to have some control of it. You could be, I don't know, it's crazy, but here it is. Vince McMahon reminds me of Donald Trump. They're both egomaniacs. So he may sell a company to you, but he still say, hey, that's my baby. The only way I'll sell it to you is that I still have this amount of control into this company.
Yeah,
and that's how crazy it is. Yeah,
exactly. It's the same thing that Dixie Carter's trying to do in TNA, except without
that. You're right. You're right. She doesn't have the money to do it.
All right, hey Al, I don't know if you know how this show is supposed to work. You're not supposed to agree with Mike. You're supposed to disagree with Mike.
I do, but I do kind of agree with him, so I don't know.
I know. I just got to give you some kind of shit. So, on this note, Al, are you going to stick around after the commercial break?
Yeah, why not? I'm free to go.
All right. So we're going to hit a commercial break here, guys. When we come back, we're going to hit really quick because I really don't want to depress either of us three. We're talking about Raw and SmackDown, so we can talk about the Raw pay-per-view because that's going to be so much more exciting. So don't go anywhere. Raw, SmackDown, who won the week, Hell in a Cell predictions, and if we got time, a little bit of news tidbits. So don't go anywhere, guys. Main Event Madness Radio, streaming live at wrestling-news.net, blogtalkradio.com/Main Event Madness, at John MEM Radio, at Darman Rockwell, at the Mark Madison, at WN_net, at WWE BNRL, which Brandon Lies, our other co-host, and for shits and giggles, even though he doesn't use it anymore. You guys, if you really want to follow a ghost account, you can follow at Al. I don't know why you'd want to, but it doesn't. You got to give you a little cue. You weren't that late on it. You're getting better at this. So don't go anywhere, guys. Main Event Madness will be back just after these words.
All right. So you want to know what's going on? Our next guest is going to be. Well, the easiest place to do that is Facebook. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness is the official Facebook page for Main Event Madness Radio. Come check us out and give us a like and help spread the word and make this a movement. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness. Looking for wrestling news, missed a live event, and want the best results? Well, look no further. Wrestling-news.net is the place to go for all of the pro wrestling news and results your heart desires, with coverage of the WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, Ring of Honor, Global Force Wrestling, Independence, and more. Also, is your favorite promotion overseas? No problem either. Wade Daily has results and news for promotions all over the world. Check them out today, wrestling-news.net. Visit pwpnation.com for exclusive wrestling articles you won't find anywhere else. Since 2012, Pro Wrestling Powerhouse has produced original content from a dedicated team of wrestling analysts and fans from across the globe. pwpnation.com has now expanded into the world of wrestling news, podcasts, videos, and so much more. Make sure to visit pwpnation.com today. From the associate producer of The Wrestler, and in the tradition of Joe Franklin and Ed Sullivan variety talk show, Evan Ginzburg's Legends TV features an eclectic mix of legendary million-selling musicians and indie artists deserving greater exposure and colorful pro wrestling. Co-hosted by Steve Ludwig of Classic Pop Culture Radio, the show airs live every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern at MadhouseTV.com and LegendsTVNYC.com. Martha Wash, Crown Heights Affair, Lanny Poffo, Nicole Bass, and other legends have joined us. You missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't you dare miss Evan Ginzburg's Legends TV. Coming soon, a website with news, a website with columns, a website with madness. MainEventMadness.com is returning soon with a new look, a new attitude, and we're raising the game to a whole new level. Don't miss new columns, our entire Main Event Madness archive featuring legendary guests, wrestling news, a chat you can use with us during the show, a store, and more. Don't miss the new MainEventMadness.com coming soon. From the ashes of an old website comes a fresh new face from Main Event Madness. MEM Network is here. Check out all of your favorite episodes of Main Event Madness, Work in Progress, Wrestling's Growth Break, and Evan Ginzburg's Legends TV. More shows to be announced in the future, but check out MEMnetwork.wix.com/home, where the madness runs wild.
Greg DeMarco presents Pro Wrestling Biz, the internet's premier host of analysis, opinion, and wrestling columns. Whether it's covering World Wrestling Entertainment, Lucha Underground, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, or any other independent wrestling promotion, Pro Wrestling Biz has you covered. With daily news, show reviews, covering pay-per-views or iPay-per-views, Pro Wrestling Biz will offer viewers an array of opinions from some of the most knowledgeable wrestling writers on the internet.
I get sometimes. I can't wait. They say I'm gonna lose my mind. Spend all day long the same old song. Me and demons down by the crossroads. I can't wait. And I don't give a fuck if you call me a rebel. Call me a rebel. I deal with cocaine, this ain't my first rodeo. Wash it down with whiskey, dressed in black from head to toe. No one can stand against me, cause we all stand here guilty. Heaven and hilltops, see the man with my soul. I get faded, I get let loose sometimes. I get wasted. They say I'm gonna lose my mind. Spend all day long the same old song. Be my demons down by the crossroads. I can't wait it. And I don't give a fuck.
All right, folks, we are back. Main Event Madness Radio, October 27th edition of the broadcast. We thank you so much for taking time out of your night to come hang out with us. Really appreciate it. What you guys are listening to right now, or was listening to, is the single Rebel, the song Rebel by the band Shallow Side, which you guys can find them on Twitter and Facebook at Shallow Side Band. And also, you guys can check out their music on iTunes and Spotify, as well as check out their music video on YouTube. So again, that's Shallow Side Band on Facebook, on Twitter, YouTube. Check them out. You know, if you like the music, you like the song, you like the band, call your local radio stations, help get them out there. They're a great band. And thank you again to Shallow Side for allowing us to use Rebel as the official theme song of Main Event Madness Radio. So, I've been dreading this. That's why we did this like an hour later than we normally do it. But, because fuck run sheets, right? Yeah, Al, I've gotten a little bit bad at those lately. Whoops. You made them for like a week. All right, I'm going. The beautiful thing of being the head of something is delegating. Mike, did you watch Raw and SmackDown this week? Are you basically talking about me?
Well, I mean, many people that go to DJR Wrestling and read my recap, I'm sure that they would prefer to do that versus having to sit through 5 hours what is largely
Kevin Dunn having a temper tantrum over an Irish girl's accent?
correct.
Yeah, Al, did you hear that part earlier? I don't know if Al, are you still with us? Oh, look at that. He hung up, bastard. We let this bastard back on the air. Oops. Oh, there he is. We let this son of a bitch come back on the air after like 6 or 7 months, and he hangs up on us.
No, the call killed, and I did hear a little bit of what he said. I'm sorry. I was listening to the show, and everything just went blank in my phone.
So literally nothing's changed from when you were in charge of the show.
I'll tell you, I told you on I everything wrong with what happened with Negative Impact.
Oh, don't worry. We usually have worse audio issues than this. Yeah, like a month ago, I couldn't do a show because I thought my switchboard wasn't working. But in actuality, I had the headphones plugged into the wrong fucking outlet.
Damn, you never did that.
Nope. All right, Mike. So, what good points did you take away from Monday Night Raw this week?
The commercial. Yeah, I enjoyed when it was over. I enjoyed that very much. That's really a tough one, John. I mean, I can tell you that I know that my patience for Raw is growing thin. When even the entertainment of Chris Jericho is not enough to get me through an episode of Raw. So that's basically where I'm at with Raw.
And it's funny because Jericho is now, they're doing with Jericho what they did with New Day. They fucking used New Day out the ass. And then people started getting bored with it. I mean, they're still going strong. Don't get me wrong. But
Well, that's true. I mean, who knows if it's accurate or not, but one school of thought is that they're prepping, Jericho for the inevitable face turn before he departs for, parts Fozzy again, which would at least make sense with the crowd reaction he's getting. But yeah, I mean, even Jericho stuff got stale, and I will confess, I could watch an endless loop. So you wanted another good one? I'm having to dig through the trenches here, but I got it for you. I could watch an endless loop Mick Foley freak out at the drop of a hat because I love it. It's just like people are talking to me like, "Oh, wait a minute! I was in the cell. What's going to happen to you?" And it was great. It was like an episode of Scooby Doo or something, where like the caretaker is like, "Oh, you can't." It was great. So those were the two parts of Raw that were good. That's all you have to watch. Ignore the rest of it, especially the part where Rusev is delivering his discussion on how he's going to beat Roman Reigns in front of like a blank screen. It was just horrible. And there was arm wrestling. How could I forget? It was arm wrestling.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
But
I haven't broken that out in a while. Arm wrestling. Yeah.
But at least there was Bailey.
No, it doesn't even help.
No?
It's funny when they put out that arm wrestling table, it's like, who holy shit. It looks like the same one they've had for 15 years, and they repainted it tonight. And it still has the SmackDown leather on it, so it's not even the Raw.
It's the same one that Brock Lesnar almost used to kill Zach Gallen 15 years ago.
It was horrible. The segment was horrible. It was sad. And let me tell you, Chris Jericho's list or whatever, everything was working fine until this Monday Night Raw. Where the whole fucking show was.
It's $1 in the swear jar for you, sir.
Yeah, well, you broke all the fucking rules tonight.
That's another $1 in the fucking swear jar for you.
I'm just saying that it was working. You know, I understood why Jericho was there, and Jericho was trying to up Kevin Owens, being a main event guy. He probably sent to some other guys to think that Kevin Owens was the main event guy, so Jericho's there helping him out. And just they pushed it too far along, and now Kevin Owens looks like nothing. Jericho looks like a fucking joke, and I don't know, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's a real joke. And then don't even get me started with the fact that they decided to bring out Brock Lesnar in his hometown, thinking that he was gonna fucking get a heel piece on it when it's his hometown. And when Miz is in fucking Ohio, like, come on, it was the worst. That was WCW. And the WWE booking, like, it didn't make sense.
That was the same thing where they had the signs on the screens for WCW. Cheer, boo, cheer, boo.
It was the same type of shit. It doesn't make sense. How are you going to do Brock Lesnar back? I mean, he hasn't been on television for quite some time. And, by the way, he's coming back to the now after all these documentaries everywhere have. It just doesn't fucking make sense. It doesn't make sense. Lately, the writing, the booking, it blows my mind. It's so sad.
Speaking of,
Actually, you know, I'm going to say one thing to follow up on that point. Well, two things. First of all, during the arm wrestling segment, the acting, in order of how good it was, went like this. Number 1, Bailey. Number 2, arm wrestling table. Number 3, Dana Brooke. That is all. Now moving to point 2, regarding the Brock Lesnar promo. Okay? Now, I've said to you before, John, I'm a huge Paul Heyman fan, okay? Unabashedly. I have watched Paul Heyman successfully deliver a promo on, like, a toaster oven, a random homeless guy. Paul Heyman could do a promo for just about anything in the history of time. I mean, this is the guy who has delivered some of the greatest shoot promos that you've ever seen, fake shoot promos. I mean, this guy is the hype master galore, okay? There is a moment, I don't know the minutes or the seconds, but if you choose to go back to Raw, you can watch it. You can time the exact moment where you can see Paul Heyman's eyes going, oh shit, there's literally nothing I can say to save this. And it's about 10 seconds before the microphone cuts out and they turn the video on. Vince is in the back like, you gotta end this shit. I can't believe this is booing. I can't believe they're saying Goldberg sucks. Who'd have thought it? So, that's what I got for you on that.
So.
And you know what? It's not Paul Heyman's fault. It's
not
Lesnar's fault. It's Bookie's fault. And I think Kevin Nash actually went to Twitter and said, man, this feels like the end of WCW when they were booking some stupid fucking thing. It just doesn't make sense. It makes no sense.
And you know, I would also say this for that now, because you're right, it isn't Brock Lesnar's fault, but they didn't do him any favors either, because Brock Lesnar basically just stood there, said nothing, smiled twice, and then left the ring. Like, it was the worst. Like, I'm supposed to get excited about this match.
Well, I'll disagree with you here. Brock Lesnar has been doing that for the past 6 months, past 2 years. He sits there, smiles, 3 or 4 times in the league. It did not help the cause. I agree that it did not help.
Yeah.
Because that kind of shows he was doing what he's always done. Where he smiles, he's smiling at Paul Heyman's, mouth and saying, Paul Heyman's putting that heel promo. It's not his fault. It's not Brock Lesnar's fault. It's not Paul Heyman. I swear it's the booking.
It's Vince.
Brock Lesnar has had that same work on his face for a couple years now.
I found that.
Maybe it just felt worse.
It felt worse.
Make them so flat.
I found that tweet I was talking about. Always have the heel return to his home to castrate the babyface. Welcome back, WCW guy 101. Guess 12 years was too soon. Ladder match? So any thoughts on SmackDown?
Oh Lord. I mean, if you like Ellsworth, then you enjoyed SmackDown. If you did not like Ellsworth, then and I do, on an unrelated note, we have learned, while we're speaking of booking, which I always appreciate because I expect the best from WWE, haha. We have learned SmackDown's logic for how to book the Survivor Series matches. Even though Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon, as far as I can tell, were not on the show, we learned from the announcement. Now, I need you guys to prepare yourself for this. Again, I watched this stuff so that, I can help you with this. The way that they're figuring out who's going to be on the team for SmackDown, okay, is, now, you got to follow me here. Natalia, who last week was showing cat pictures to Daniel Bryan, this is not a joke, she wanted to be the captain of the women's SmackDown. So Daniel Bryan said, listen, you can, but you have to fight Nikki Bella. And the catch is, the loser is not on the team at all.
Nepotism.
Okay? Yeah, not on the team at all. And of course, Natalia went for it. You can guess the rest. In the tag team division, the Hype Bros, okay, which makes, I want to throw up as soon as I say the name. The Hype Bros got in courtesy of their win, okay, and the tag team champions, Rhino and Heath Slater, are also in because they're the champions. Even though the women's champion, which of course, as we've discussed multiple times through the show, is Becky Lynch, she is not automatically on the women's one, even though she's the champion. So we've already learned that the rules for the SmackDown teams are basically who the hell knows? Who is available, who's not hurt, and who can pass the concussion test.
I'll give you one better. So, all this importance of Raw versus SmackDown. You know who's not going to be at Survivor Series?
Yes, Randy Orton.
And John Cena. You have your two biggest stars. You're already down Finn Balor. Don't mind my huh?
John, I'm sorry. I apologize. I forgot one more thing. Randy Orton turned on Kate, and we don't know if he really did or not, and it doesn't make it. It's actually made the most bizarre storyline. It involves a storage unit, a lantern, a cat equipment. Yeah. It's actually made that plot line somehow even stranger. That Randy Orton turned on Cage, and then when they asked him, he said, "Oh, if you can't beat him, join him." And he's basically the only good guy besides Dean Ambrose on the entire roster. So I'm confused, John. You gotta help me.
I got nothing.
All right.
I got nothing.
This is my biggest concern that is happening. Both rosters are depleted, and there's nothing great, and it's overwhelming, especially with today's society that we're all ADD and we're all about things happening fast. And right now, there's too many changes in the world, wrestling and entertainment. It's just fucking sucks. It sucks.
They're not depleted.
Consumer wrestling, it's overwhelming.
The,
There's too much going on, and it's
the rosters aren't depleted. They just drafted them in a really shitty way that the next month worth of feuds No, what I'm saying is they drafted the rosters so they could continue whatever feuds were going on the particular shows for the next 2 weeks, and that was it.
When they did the draft, you were all excited.
Yeah, but then you look at the roster. I was, but then you look at SmackDown and you draft Cena and AJ on both on SmackDown. For what? And then you look right after SummerSlam and you have Finn Balor. Finn Balor's out. Well, now your top feud that you could have involves Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. You really want people to have to sit through Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the Universal title next? I mean, where does Raw go?
I can't sit through anything about Roman Reigns. I can't.
Oh, how about the obligatory Bill Goldberg Universal Championship match?
Well, listen, let's not forget, and I agree with that. I said it at the beginning because, listen, we saw this last time, and it didn't work because, unfortunately, you know, even though the roster is deeper than it's ever been, it doesn't mean that the storytelling is automatically better. So, like, for example, on SmackDown, the reason they've had better, in my opinion, largely since the split, is because they have been able to devote time to Ziggler versus Miz, for example, and that's been very good. So if you have the right people, the feud can go on for a really long time, and it actually doesn't bore you because, oh my God, the people are capable of telling a story. When it's Rusev and Roman Reigns, who are two of the most boring people on the roster, staring at each other week after week, and you don't know which one's the good guy, which one's the bad guy, because they all say the same thing all the time. It's boring as hell. And by the way, I would throw out one other thing to you. So do you guys remember when we were very excited that I guess, I'm lying because I wasn't that excited because I could see it coming. When Raw said, okay, they're going to get the cruiserweight. And we had discussed on the show that, I felt like SmackDown was better fit because they were looking to make it different than Raw. And that putting the cruiserweights on Raw was invariably going to diminish both because now you're putting energy into something else that actually is over with the fans naturally with WWE because they want to tell you what to cheer and boo. But it's also going to affect Raw because the show is already overstuffed. Well, I want you guys to note that it only took literally 2 pay-per-views from the time that the Cruiserweight title was instituted for us to reach the moment where it becomes irrelevant. Because if you did not see Raw, okay, the number 1 contender, which is Brian Kendrick, lost on Raw, which doesn't really make any sense, except that then went to the backstage and told TJ Perkins, hey, I think you ought to throw this one for me. I think you ought to throw me the stuff. So, it's already not about the wrestling, and I get that it's WWE, but it's an exact example of what the three of us are talking about right now. They're doing it to themselves because they're not allowing the guys on their roster who actually can go to do it without these absurd things that just do not attract attention in a positive way.
And I'll tell you this, I think the biggest problem they had, I'll get the brand split, but when it happened, it was like, all right, it looked good. I think they pushed it too much on us, and I really feel that they went ahead. The amount of pay-per-views that are happening, it's beyond fathom. It doesn't make sense.
They should go back to one Raw, SmackDown.
No, not one Raw. It should be all cohesive. They should have waited a year before they decided, hey, this is the first SmackDown pay-per-view since the inception of the SmackDown and the Raw brand in over a year. Like, they did it so fast and they want results so fast that I think it's hurting them.
I think...
I can't even keep track of all the pay-per-views that are happening now. It's too much like that. And I'm not invested if they did it so fast. I think if they would have drove the cruiserweight division, they would have years.
That should be an NXT.
Of the expansion, the draft, the brand. Now say, hey, out of nowhere, that is 2 weeks into it or 3 weeks into where, this man fucked up and said, we got no mercy. The first SmackDown brand guys went too fast.
I don't think they went too fast. I think having a SmackDown pay-per-view every month, a Raw pay-per-view every month was too much. You know, when the brand split was at its peak, they had, so you could go from January to December, you had the Rumble, which was both, No Way Out, or the February pay-per-view was SmackDown, WrestleMania both, April pay-per-view was Raw, May SmackDown, June Raw, July SmackDown, SummerSlam, September Raw, October SmackDown, November both, December Raw.
It's too much, especially when they just did the brand split.
Because then you could have they could have still done the brand split pay-per-views, but they should have just left it at 13, 14 pay-per-views, not 19. Because then
like create fans for each brand. I just feel like it was shoved down our throats like last time, and it worked for this time. It worked even less than last time.
Well, by the way,
how the fuck do you have James Ellsworth? I love the guy. I've been following this guy's career for a long time. I don't know why I just put on my Facebook. How the fuck is he main eventing SmackDown? It doesn't make sense. You know why? Because they're desperate. They made a lot of decisions. It just doesn't make sense.
I think that's true. I think that's true because I think that is the downside of the brand split. That you have the same guy fighting over and over. So you have to find ways to make it interesting, and that's been tough for them to do. So yeah, absolutely. Unless you have the right guys, it's tough. But I would say, to Al's point, like I, in my opinion, and my question to you, John, would be like, since they don't care about pay-per-views anymore anyway, I don't understand the point of making such a big deal. I get that you're trying to push the network. I get that you want people to think that they're getting all these extra pay-per-views, and isn't that great? But not if the pay-per-views aren't very good, because frankly, then people are going to get tired.
So you're talking about Clash of Champions.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Or you're talking about No Mercy, that was horrendous.
Absolutely.
And we don't have enough time to invest into it. Wrestling's always been one of those things where you invest into it personally. So if you have 2 weeks for every pay-per-view, it's like, what the fuck does it matter? I got to keep up with all this shit, with everything else, especially today with social media. It should be one pay-per-view a month still.
How out of place is Hell in a Cell? How out of place is Hell in a Cell right now? All of the focus is on Survivor Series. Hell in a Cell is so out of place right now.
Well, and by the way, in regards to the Hell in a Cell thing, I mean, I think that's a great example because the big story about Hell in a Cell is it, what are they going to do with Sasha and Charlotte? Are they going to wrestle back? Are they going to? And listen, that's a great story, and that's something that's historic, and all of that. And they've really dropped the ball because they don't even know what they're going to do. They're saying, "Oh, it's a triple threat. It's 3 matches in a cage." Look, we've seen matches in cages. No one cares that Roman Reigns is wrestling Rusev in a cage. I don't even think people care that Seth Rollins is wrestling Kevin Owens in a cage. But
nobody cares that Divas Championship or whatever the hell it's called is in the cage right now. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. So the big thing is the historical implication of it, and that's what they should have gone with. And I would say to you, John, like, I think in the heyday of wrestling, when they would do those like special events and have, the Tuesday in Texas and stuff, like that's all they had to do on the network. You could still do specials. You could have SmackDown only specials and Raw only specials, and you could get people to watch on different nights, and that would make sense. But like the constant barrage of both the way the TV shows flow now and the way the pay-per-views are. I mean, again, granted, I do like pay-per-view previews. Cheap plug. There'll be another one up tomorrow. But even we are like, wow, what can we say about these two guys wrestling for the 15th time in something that really it feels stale? So I think you guys are right about that. I mean, I just think that they have kind of painted themselves into a corner with that.
So really quick before I move on to the predictions, I just want to say one thing. God, I'm happy we don't do the pay-per-view pre-games anymore. God, I'm happy about that. All right, so...
And before we go to predictions, and I hope you have a little more time, just like, I don't understand how. Okay, I wouldn't my chain of thought here, but with all the pay-per-views, it's overwhelming. Like, if you, let's say you go to WWE Monday Night Raw has been on the USA Network for how many years?
More or less 25.
All right, and for those 25 years, Monday Night Raw has only been live on Monday night. And maybe an occasional, whatever the fuck,
Thursday.
and it should be used twice or whatever. What I'm saying is that they gotta treat the WWE Network the same way, where they feel like, oh my god, these pay-per-views live events is all they got. And it's not the truth. They do have good programming. They could have those pre and post shows, and they're going to get live. Like, they're getting audiences. I think that they're so desperate to make the WWE Network successful that it's hurting them. And they're trying to think beyond the scope. You don't have to be live these days to make it an audience. Like they have enough producers. How many fucking shows do they have on the WWE Network that you could? It's almost like Netflix and chill at this point. Like if you see the three tables, whatever it's called, the documentary.
Table for Three is awesome though.
A lot of footage and a lot of great productions. They're hurting themselves thinking that they always got to go live with these pay-per-views every other weekend, and NXT it's overwhelming. It's just beyond overwhelming at this point.
So let's put the pain, just rip the Band-Aid off. Bailey versus Dana Brooke. Do you care? That's a no for neither one of you. Enzo and Cass versus Gallows and Anderson. I'm going to say Gallows and Anderson because they're going to be getting primed for another tag title feud, I think. I think this is...
I didn't want to comment on what is going on with Gallows and Anderson.
I think...
So I'm going to take Enzo and Cass because, you know what? I mean, how far can you fall? What's farther than the lowest point in the world?
I think this match is the future tag team title match. Maybe at WrestleMania, maybe not. But Enzo and Cass versus Gallows and Anderson for the tag team titles. I think that could be the WrestleMania tag team title match.
Well, the problem, John, is that has no credibility because all those two teams have done is lose for the past 4 months.
Either that, or if they want to give us babyface versus babyface at the December pay-per-view, can we have Enzo and Cass versus the New Day? Which is my segue. New Day versus Cesaro and Sheamus. I'm going to say, because they want to say, fuck the records, Cesaro and Sheamus are going to be the tag team champions. Because we have to do an odd couple.
Oh my God.
I don't want them to. It's just, yeah.
I'll point to that they are going to win. With the booking, they're going to. I would actually prefer that happens, but there's no chance that they prevent New Day.
TJ Perkins versus Brian Kendrick. Perkins, LOL. Sasha versus Charlotte, who apparently now has the last name for the women's title.
Yes, everyone has been told to say it. Charlotte Flair, damn it.
I say Sasha because I want to see Becky versus or Bayley versus Sasha. I want to see this feud be over with once and for all. Rusev Machka versus Roman Reigns for the United States. We will miss John Cena wearing this belt championship. Mike?
Oh my God. The loser is the viewing audience.
Wholeheartedly agree.
In my opinion, Reigns wins the blow off of that feud, but
What would be interesting, an interesting way to get Reigns in the title picture, if indeed he's facing Owens for the title next, which, I mean, theoretically he will be, unless they want to blow their load on Jericho.
I think you're right. I think that's true. I think Reigns Owens. Yeah.
I say they do what TNA did, and I think I said this on the last show, that Reigns gives up the U.S. title to go after the world title. I think that's an interesting way they could do it, kind of like the option C TNA did. But that is a conversation for another day. Owens Rollins for the Universal title. Even having just said that, I think Rollins wins.
Do you really?
I want him to win. I
don't think there's any chance that Rollins wins that match. And you know full well why.
Because Kevin Owens is going to be the first real reigning Universal Champion, and he's going to reign for 435 days because Vince McMahon's a petty little fuck.
Well, yes, and because Seth Rollins is not going to win any more titles until after he has his match with Triple H, but no one wants to see except Triple H.
This is
probably Vince.
I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Okay, well then you, Vince, and Triple H.
Fair enough. Well, we lost Al, so moving on from that, what is coming up for Mike this week?
Well, I'm glad you asked, John. Thank you. That was a great segue.
You're welcome.
I missed this previously. Thank you. You're a fan.
I think so.
Tomorrow morning or afternoon, we will have the CJR Wrestling preview up for Hell in a Cell, which I spent some time trashing, so that probably wasn't the best way to. But I can promise you that I will make it entertaining as I try to do. So we will have that up for you. And then I am slightly late with it this week because, frankly, I have had a really hard time trying to pick the winner between Raw and SmackDown. So that will be posted either Friday or Saturday, the brand split breakdown that I do every week. I'm starting to want to call it like which brand should we do tonight first. But I will tell you this 100%. And again, no spoiler alert needed. For anybody that watches The Walking Dead, which was definitely better television this week, I would rather do myself what Negan did to Glenn than watch another episode of Raw.
Yeah, I'm not a Walking Dead fan, but that was a pretty vicious death.
Yeah, had the internet talk.
Mick Foley's little toy. So definitely check that stuff out, guys. TJRWrestling.net. And on that note, I don't think we're getting Al back.
All right.
So on that note, guys, we will be back here, same bat time, same bat channel, next week, 8 p.m. Eastern, or blogtalkradio.com/Main Event Madness, Facebook.com/Main Event Madness, Wrestling-News.net for all the latest in wrestling news, spoilers, results. Follow us on Twitter at AlMeMadness. You're welcome, you prick. I'm so nice to you guys.
Welcome back to the show.
Yes. Here's your complimentary harassment. At John MEM Radio. Huh?
Don, please don't forget to tell people to x-ray their kids. Okay, come on.
Yes, I didn't get to that part yet. At John MEM Radio, at the Mark Madison, at Darman Rockwell, at WWE BNRL, at WN_net Wayne Daly, at Evan_Ginzburg and Evan Ginzburg. Check out MadhouseTV.com, Legends TV, Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern. We'll have him back here next week also. Yes, X-ray your kids' Halloween candy. Happy Halloween to everybody out there, which actually I'm going to... while I'm signing off on this, I'm going to switch my profile picture to my Halloween picture.
Very nice.
We went pink this month.
Yes, we did.
I hope everybody has a happy, safe Halloween. If you have little ones in your family, I hope you guys have a blast. Take them out trick-or-treating. Hopefully you guys get some good candy. And yeah, that's really all I got. Be good, be safe, Lord willing. You guys will be back here, same bad time, same bad channel. We do this all over again next week, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to open the show next week with, I want to get Mike and Mark's opinion, and I may even try to get Evan in on this one. Actually, I know what Evan's going to say, so maybe not. The latest on Shinsuke Nakamura and the main roster. Yeah. Gotta love WWE. Oh, boy.
John, the only thing I'm going to tell you in advance of that is that you forget there needs to be enough time for the Spirit Squad and, some of this other stuff. You can't get everything on the show, John.
They say what's old is new. No. That doesn't always work. Just like the Headbangers are going to be on Raw or on SmackDown next week.
Yeah.
In a qualifying match for the tag team tournament. Or not tournament, but Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'd rather see the Godwin come back.
I'd rather, let's see. Let's see, if my choices are watch the Headbangers, no offense, on SmackDown Live or watching The Flash. Yeah. There might be some tights, but there ain't going to be no squared circle. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
Getting better at this. So, on that note, have a great night, guys. A great rest of your Thursday. Great weekend. Again, happy Halloween to everybody. Hope you guys have a great Halloween. Mark will be back with us next week. Mike and I get to go have bountiful fun in the world of retail that involves Halloween. And by bountiful fun, I mean somebody please just take us behind the shed and just put us out of our misery.
John, you well know that in retail we've already moved on to Christmas.
Have you guys?
Of course. Halloween is so 5 months ago.
I went into a Big Lots like a month and a half, almost 2 months ago. And I was going in there to find something for my work. And they have, this is going to like the first, second week of September.
Yeah.
2 aisles of Halloween. 5 fucking aisles of Christmas.
Yep. Well, I mean, listen, I'm going to say, rarely do I pull the veil back on the enigma that is Mike Collins, but I will share with you one small retail anecdote, which is yesterday I actually spoke with a woman who was making some purchases, and she stopped to tell me rather loudly her opinion that how could we be selling Christmas stuff? It's too early for that. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I noticed in her cart Christmas merchandise. So I just want to throw it out there that a very good way to get stores to stop doing that is not fucking buying it. You don't want to tap into that retail well here on Main Event Madness, because that will turn into retail madness.
All I can think of is Sports Authority. What's the sale price of this? Well, it was originally $32, and it's on sale for 50% off. Oh, is that $10?
Right. And then you say, well, that'll be 16, and change. And they're like, well, it's only 50% off. Yeah, there's tax. So I guess actually Florida, there's not, right?
No, there was. There was.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there's no property tax. There is sales tax, yeah.
Yes.
Because that's the other thing. It's like, and then they want to tell you, well, I don't think that the tax is right. I'm pretty sure that it is. But, feel free to get out your iPhone calculator and double check.
Oh, boy. Hell is not for the weak.
It certainly is not. It prepares you. You feel like you've been through hell in a cell yourself. We'll just, again, John and I will tell you that if you have kids out there, like John said, practice safe trick-or-treating and don't let your kids get into retail. It's a life of it's like all the vices that you've heard about. Don't let your kids do that. Don't let your kids, Mama, don't let your kids grow up to be retail people because they will turn into jobs.
Have a good one, everybody. I can't outdo that. Have a good one, everybody. Mike Holland, everybody. At Darwin Rockwell on Twitter. Follow him for the latest insights in the world of retail. Oh, boy. Yeah, there's no outdoing that. Have a great night, guys. Great weekend. Happy Halloween from Main Event Madness, and we'll catch you back here next week. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Staples.
Staples guy, I've resolved to save my office money in 2017.
Well, during Staples' January printing event, you save big when you buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off.
Oh, that kind of savings will impress the boss. Maybe this year he'll stop calling me new guy Nick.
Well, there are worse nicknames.
I've worked there 6 years, and my name's Doug.
Resolve to save during Staples' January printing event. Buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off. Staples, make more happen.
Ends 1/14/17. See store at staples.com for details. Restrictions may apply.
Welcome to Staples.
Staples guy, I've resolved to save my office money in 2017.
Well, during Staples' January printing event, you save big when you buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off.
Oh, that kind of savings will impress the boss. Maybe this year he'll stop calling me new guy Nick.
Well, there are worse nicknames.
I've worked there 6 years, and my name's Doug.
Resolve to save during Staples' January printing event. Buy one HP ink and get the second 40% off. Staples, make more happen.
Ends 1/14/17. See store at staples.com for details. Restrictions may apply.